project. The details of that settlement are contained in the settlement agreement between the parties, which will be available upon signature by the district, and that vote was unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you. So now I'll call the meeting to order and roll call.
Director Balboni. Here. Vice President Lehue.
Here.
Director Jaffe.
Here.
Director Christensen.
Here.
And President Lather.
Here. So there are no remote attendees that I know of. And I want to just remind directors to speak into microphones because this is being recorded. And also, I think it's live streamed.
That's correct. It broadcasts to CTV's YouTube channel.
Right. So if we don't talk into our microphones, people will miss out, as well as any recordings that we want to look back at. So the next item is agenda adjustments. And I had one that has been requested by staff to take 6.9 off the consent agenda for discussion or presentation. Is there
remove it from
the consent agenda and move it into the regular agenda?
Okay,
That's what we usually do.
Okay.
Okay, so are there any board members request to pull a consent item other than that for discussion? Okay, so then we'll move on to item 5, public comment. What?
Okay, you're right. Sorry.
Public comment. This is the chance for the public to discuss an item that is not on the agenda. And we have one member here.
Here we are. Thank you. Good evening. My name's Becky Steinbrunner. I want to compliment you on the changes on the website. It's a lot easier to go directly to documents from the agenda. Thank you. That's great. I want to just bring to your attention the issue that has to do with the continued claims that the Mid-County Basin is in overdraft. I bring this up because I think it's important that the public is aware that Bulletin 118 from the state never determined that there was really a critical overdraft issue. And I see you're looking disdainfully, but this is from your own document. This is from the Soquel Creek Water District, Central Water District Groundwater Management Plan 2007 of the Soquel Aptos area. I will leave this with you so that it becomes part of the record and the public can see it. But what's important is that on page 14 of this report, which I will also leave with Ms. Western, is it states that the Bulletin 118, according to the plan, was to a finding in 1980 was, quote, at the request of a city of Santa Cruz and a supervisor of Santa Cruz County, it was classified subject to critical conditions of overdraft. It was never proven, and there were no studies, but it was done at the request of a supervisor of Santa Cruz County and the city of Santa Cruz in 1980. DWR revised the bulletin in 1992, and this is directly from your own report. It also cited that the Soquel Aptos area was not subject to critical conditions of overdraft. So there really has never been any proof. Now, I know that there has been AEM, the helicopter flyover studies that took a snapshot of the situation of where the saltwater freshwater interface was in 2017. There's been only one other one done by the state in, I believe, 2021, but they used a different flight pattern. And the department, or the Mid-County Groundwater Agency, has paid the Rambo, the people from Denmark who did the first one, to configure that data from the state in a way such that it can be compared with 2017.
Your time is up.
I request that you have a presentation of that for the public and for your own benefit. Thank you. I'll leave this with Ms. Western. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment from the board members?
I just hate to have that misinformation out there. So looking at old documents from the 80s and 90s are not necessarily saying that overdraft's never been found. We've had plenty of reputable hydrogeologists over many years since then prove that. And anyway, it's just, want to make sure that was clear.
And so this is the place for directors to bring up.
Items that are not on the agenda.
So, and I'd like to preface this with is that this is not a high priority item for staff, that they should do this when it is, when time is available, if there is such a thing. But I'd like to get a report on the residual chlorine levels in the system, just to see how that maps out. I know we treat in some places, and I know that we do collect data on how much chlorine is there because that disinfects. Again, not a high priority, but just please put that on the list. And the goal of that is to see, from time to time, I do get customers complaining about chlorine levels. I just want to see how that maps out through the system and whether there's anything that can be done to, decrease the residual chlorine in high areas.
I'll just add that, I can smell it sometimes, so.
I live in a similar neighborhood. I guess I have different chlorine levels because I don't smell anything. Okay, are there any other?
Do you want to respond to that, Taj?
No, I don't, but I do. I made a mistake. It's actually 6.8 that I.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
Yeah, I had thought that was part of it. Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I will correct that to be item 6.8. Now that we're getting to the consented items, it's a good
No,
time.
I have one little comment.
Oh, okay.
It's Gummy Bear Day. No, that's not my comment.
I didn't.
This is the National Gummy Bear Day, though. No, I wanted to just comment on an article I saw in the New York Times yesterday, and I have a copy of it. I can send it to you. But it was all about the effect of a Meta, that Facebook AI power station that caused the neighboring residences to be sucked dry of water. And also actually it contaminated their wells too, probably. And I didn't know what their permitting was in a different state entirely, but I think, along with the other things that our district has to be kind of aware of is, it was forest fires, it was a overdraft, seawater intrusion is still a major issue for us. And
Keep talking.
and then I think anything that comes in through the county, because it would go through the county to be approved and cited, we should pay attention if that happens.
Server farms.
Yes, they were talking about 500,000 gallons a day they were using on the, for their power plant,
Sizable.
and they just pop it in. Anyway, that's all.
Are there any other items not on the agenda? I only have one board member left, so.
Josh, do we need to revote since it's a different?
We didn't vote on any.
Yeah, so I was just
We
double
haven't
checking that we
voted
have
on
not had a
consent
motion
yet.
yet on the consent calendar.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now we're at the consent items, and at this point, request public comment on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Becky Steinbrenner. I just want to comment on the update regarding the Pure Water Soquel certifications that the district has received. I saw that in the management report. I request that the tracer results of the tracer studies associated with that project be made public. Is there any way that the public can see the results of the tracer studies? I think it's important to know for the public, and especially for those who have private wells and some of the two small mutual water systems and the down gradient flow from the Twin Lakes Church injection well, that they know that they have that information. How is that really going to affect their well? And what is the real movement of that water that hopefully the tracer studies will show? I'd like to make that, I request that you make that information public. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we've closed the public comment portion of this, and I ask for a motion or any discussion from the board members prior to a motion.
I'll move approval except for 6.8.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Director Jaffe and a second by Christensen. We don't need to do a voice, I mean, we can do a voice vote, right?
Correct.
Yep. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Against? It's a unanimous vote. I thought it was that one. Okay. So now we're on to reports. Is there a district council report?
Yes, President Luther, just a really brief one. I just wanted to talk a little bit about case law that's helping to define when directors' social media is subject to the First Amendment. This is actually an important issue because if your social media page is determined to be subject to the First Amendment, there are restrictions on your ability to delete comments, block people from viewing your pages, and some discussions about record retention as well. This is an issue that actually went to the U.S. Supreme Court last year, and the Supreme Court provided sort of a general guidance that private social media pages of public officials will be subject to the First Amendment when that official has authority to speak on behalf of the agency and purports to exercise that authority when speaking on social media. That sort of general guidance was recently applied by the Ninth Circuit related to the president of a school district in Southern California that had an active social media and had recently blocked some parents of students. In that case, the Ninth Circuit ultimately determined that the president's social media page was subject to the First Amendment, applying the tests that the Supreme Court laid out. And there were, I think, some important facts in that case, which are noteworthy, and then I wanted to end with kind of some guidance. And the most important piece was that the social media was used by the president to make announcements about the school, including announcements sometimes before the school itself made those. And so, if you were a person who was following or viewing the social media page, it really would kind of look like the school's social media page and not necessarily a social media page of the president in her personal capacity. So I do think, if you're using social media to talk about district business, important takeaways. One, remember that it is your personal page. The district has a robust social media output that's intended to be the quote unquote district social media, which we acknowledge to be subject to the First Amendment. And to make that especially clear, consider including disclaimers on your page, including, this is the personal page of, your name and not intended to be an official page of the district. If you do have any questions or would ever like us to take a look at a personal social media feed, just to make sure it's complying with these rules, we'd be happy to do so. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we're on to business items. 8.1 is adopt resolution 2514, recognizing public members for their service on the district's public advisory committee.
I'm going to go ahead and
Okay, so
present
this
this
will
item,
be-
President Lather.
Okay.
Thank you. Yes, 8.1 is really just, we wanted to take a moment to recognize the public members on the Public Advisory Committee. As you know, the evolution of our committees have gone from 3 separate standing committees to the most recent version, which is 1 Public Advisory Committee. The members that first served on those 3 distinct ones actually started in 2021. We then merged all of those in 2023, and over the last 2 years, we've had the pleasure of 8 public members presiding over that committee and meeting with staff on a regular basis. Most recently, and Emma will be covering this in the next agenda item, it was timely for us to go out and seek potential new members from the public to serve. And as such, we wanted to take a moment to recognize those that have served. A couple of them have shown interest and would like to continue, but several of them have been very gracious in, I think, providing their feedback, their input, and their time to be with us. And so we wanted to take a moment. Specifically in the board packet and in the resolution, we've identified them, and just, orally, I would like to recognize Mr. Garrett Gatto, Mr. James Zakos, Ms. Kelly Guerra, Ms. Marilyn Abramson, Mr. Michael Gutierrez, and Mr. Stephen Graff. All of those have participated very actively, and up until the last meeting, we were able to have all 5 of them. I think Kelly wanted to be there and she was unable to. So we had a nice moment, had a nice last meeting. And then we also just wanted to recognize that we had 2 very dedicated members as well who passed recently while serving their terms. So we also wanted to recognize Mr. John Dickinson and Ms. Karen McCarty. So in the board packet, we have a resolution just acknowledging, again, their service and a little bit of sentiment related to each of them. And that's in the board resolution number 2514. And so, just to close on this item, we do have a motion to adopt that resolution.
Is there anyone in the public that wants to speak on this item? Seeing none, let's close the public comment part of this and see if we have comments from board members.
I mean, I'll go ahead and just, since I've served on a couple different of the committees, really think it was a good idea in the first place to start having these committees and engaging the public, and they've been good learning experiences for us, for them, and I think good ambassadors for our district. So I think it was really a great idea. And whether it's 3 committees or 1, I think we still win when we do this kind of outreach, and people really stepped up and gave us some good advice, So I thank those who served, and I'll make the motion to, I guess is it 2 motions, really?
No, it's just 1.
No. I'm trying to figure that out. Okay. Yes, I'll make that motion then.
Any second or other?
I'll second. I really enjoyed working with all these people. They really very good spirited. They've been out. I think some of them are going to be future members of the future committee that will start meeting in the fall. But really had a lot of good comments that I think the staff. So we're able to act on some of those things. So I'd like to second it.
We have a motion and a second. Can you, we just do a voice vote, right? Okay. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, we have a unanimous vote.
Thank you.
We will move on to 8.2, which is to appoint public members to serve on the district's Public Advisory Committee.
I'll
Is
take
there a staff summary? Yes, and it's going to be Emma. Okay.
I'll take that one.
Stern.
So this item follows what Melanie just presented. So we've been recruiting new public members to serve on the Public Advisory Committee. So the board began that process in April, and they appointed an ad hoc review and selection committee, which was Director Balboni and Director Christensen. We opened the application period for more than 3 weeks, which closed at the end of May, and we received 10 applications. 2 applications were from students at Cabrillo College, which is an exciting new thing that the committee's going to be doing. And then we received 8 other applications from interested public members. So we reviewed those applications. We spoke with most of them. They've all indicated that they can serve for the expected time period of basically 6 times per year for the next 2 years. And everyone really brought a different perspective to the table and a different background. And as you can see, we had 2 incumbents apply. So we were hoping that the board might consider appointing all 10 public members rather than reducing it to 8, which is what we had kind of originally anticipated for the size of the committee. So our recommendation is in front of you, and we'd love to hear the board's feedback.
Yeah, are there any comments from members of the public on this? Okay, so then we will return to the board and see if there's any discussion or questions.
Well, I'd just like to support the idea of appointing 10 members to the committee because a number of, at different times, people cannot show up for that meeting. So it does expand the knowledge base, in the public, and I think it's, we're sure to have some dropouts. That's my experience. I've been doing this since I started here in the district, and people drop out all the time. I think it's a good idea to have as many people starting out, and you can find out who really is engaged and really wants to stick it out.
You know what might be helpful is for you to move it so it's towards the middle.
I keep moving it, but it's got a short wire there.
The Public Advisory Committee has been really fun, exciting. It's been informative for everyone involved. People are enthusiastic. It's such a great idea. I'm so happy to see it grow, and it'll be fun to have this next, iteration of it. All good.
Okay, so
So I'll move to appoint the 10 members.
Second.
Those members.
we have a motion and a second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
I think it'll have a little bit of a new flavor with students on it as well.
Oh, yeah, be great.
Yeah, it's kind of exciting because a whole different way of seeing the world.
And the first meeting is scheduled for August 12th.
The next item is 8.3, approve Pure Water Soquel Treatment Facilities Project Contract Change Order Number 8. Taj is going to present a staff summary.
I'll try.
If you can stop coughing, yeah.
I'll be all right. Thank you. This change order is made up of several potential change orders. That's how they start. The design builder or contractor will identify, thank you, changed events or unforeseen conditions. And if they grow legs, they turn into change orders. And this is 15 of them for the Pure Water Soquel treatment design build project. So that the majority of these 15 change orders, except for the bottom couple, are mainly work that happened over at the wastewater treatment plant. And that's not surprising because it's an existing facility that had some underground skeletons in the closet. No skeletons were found, but unknowns that they had to legitimate change orders that we support and recommend approval. In this package down at the bottom there are some large ones, and I can speak to those. I can speak to any of these if you have questions, but PCO 21, which is second from the top, is $202,000, and that includes extra costs for a second UV ultraviolet system over at Santa Cruz. And we took a long time to look into this one and can make the recommendation that it be approved at this time. And then some of the big ones down at the bottom, PCO 64 and PCO 65. I want to draw your attention to 64, which is adding some accent to the existing tank architectural screens. And the $75,000 identified there is a mutual sharing of costs with Black & Veatch. And so we feel that's also a good one to move forward with. And this will add, some of the members of the board know what we've proposed, and they're going to run with those, some pelicans and fish, and even the Pure Water Soquel logo on the Chanticleer side. So
Nice.
yeah, that work can get started. They'll run with that starting tomorrow. They'll get the things in motion for that. And then the last one is about $200,000 for landscaping, which we had value engineered. We had removed it from the Black & Veatch contract at the time we awarded the design build contract, but we never really intended to not do it. And so we looked at our options and asked Black & Veatch to freshen the bid up because they had bid it. And at the time, they had 3 bids. And in 2025, they got another 3 bids. One of the landscape contractors had bid both times, and the 2 others this year didn't bid initially. But given 5 years have gone by, we looked at these prices, and it's not just plants. It involves the piping and controllers and electrical, to do all that. And this complements the landscaping that is part of the education center contract. So between the 2, we'll get everything that was originally planned and presented. So those are the big ones, obviously, about $500,000. There was a duplicate error on the landscape PCO 65, and thank you, Director Jaffe, pointed that out. And Black & Veatch revised it, and it's $3,000 less. There was a carryover error. So, we'll adjust that when we issue the change order to them, and it'll be $3,000 less. So instead of $823,004, it'll be $820,004 for that change order. These change orders include Black & Veatch's time to administer it and oversee the work, whether it's a superintendent or a field engineer. Sometimes it's a design engineer. Sometimes it's a manager. So some of the detail on all that is included in these prices.
Okay.
Any specific questions? I know there's 15 of them, so if there's any specifics. Some of these also, there's some work down at Santa Cruz. I said most of this is in the wastewater treatment plant, and one or two of these change orders included a request by the city to do some additional striping, and so we're invoicing them for their share of that.
Just for clarification, just because there's numbers and there's gaps, sometimes a PCO number may not result in a change order because that PCO could be with a sub. It could be negated out. There are reasons why not all PCOs become change orders. So just
That's true. At the time they identify it as a potential change order, if we can point out something that identifies it as is in the contract and it's not unforeseen or not extra, we'll do that. That's what we do most of the time. We manage projects. That's our goal, is to try to find it, tie it back to the contract, tie it back to the drawings, tie it back to as-built. These have all gone through that process. And Melanie is right. Some of the gaps in the numbering is that some that we point out something and they say, okay, we're going to close that one or we're going to drop that. So, but they have to have a process to not stop work. So they proceed with work, they track their time, they have daily extra work tags, and we oversee that when it happens. So.
Okay. So do we have public comments on this item?
Thank you, Becky Steinbrunner. I would like to just say that there are no trees that at the advanced water treatment facility at Chanticleer. There are no trees there. And in all of the project amendments that your district has made, it has always shown trees there to screen the view of the treatment facility from the public, especially the Highway 1 view shed. So how can you do that? Again, the project never acknowledged at any time the existence of the Chanticleer pedestrian overcrossing, which drastically, as we know, changed the floor plan, if you will, footprint available for trees. But can't you do something? I mean, think about it. Even vines being planted along the fence and extending up onto the fence of the overcrossing. Can you work with the RTC about that? Because the view and the noise from your facility is quite unpleasant. And the public was always promised a screen, a vegetative screen. So I ask, again, I did send a lot of documentation about this to your board as correspondence, I believe in January and February. No one ever responded, but it's all there together, so you can look at that. And I'll send it again if you request it. But please address this issue. Regarding the landscaping, I did, when you approved the landscaping in May, I pointed out that you cannot use recycled water for irrigation. It is prohibited in the permit approved by the Central Water Board, and that needs to be addressed.
Okay, your time is up.
Thank you.
So I'm closing public comment period and opening the floor for directors.
A comment, I wanted to comment on that landscaping too. I thought before we actually approved a final plan on that, you'd have a subcommittee. I know volunteering another subcommittee, but to look at it before we actually implement for that kind of thing, instead of, or maybe before the landscaper starts to actually look at the plans before the board. I know it's a little bit extra work, but that was my
They're
Because I think we
anticipating-
might have avoided the architectural thing if we reviewed it beforehand on that one.
I
So,
think that's a good idea.
yeah, it just,
Is the timing an issue?
Likely.
well, we'll try to expedite that, just to make it.
Well, do you want it funded or not?
Oh, yeah, but I'd like to see the plans before they go in.
Okay.
Yeah, but maybe not a committee.
What?
Maybe not a committee because,
No, I mean, I think just,
I should say there's an error made in the public comment. There are trees that are included. There are vines. And it'll improve the aesthetics of the
I
site.
wasn't worried. This is just more just the general design.
your time is up. Please do not speak in the peanut gallery.
If you would like to have a board member and staff meeting to go
That's
over
all.
that,
That's
Yeah.
what I mean by
Can do that.
subcommittee.
We'll schedule that.
Okay.
Sure.
Subcommittee's more
It's more formal.
formal.
It is more formal, but I don't know what we called it when we did the architectural review.
Okay, so any other board members?
Yes.
Okay.
Since we're talking about the landscaping, which I wholeheartedly support, it's our face to the community. We want to have a good face towards the community. I talked with Melanie and Taj about this, and I was surprised about the need for field engineer, and they informed me that all work that's done at the Pure Water Soquel plant needs to have supervision. They need to have somebody there when they're doing the work. So that's why that's in there. I was a bit surprised that design bill fees apply to these types of things, but I guess that's part of the agreement with Black and Veatch, that everything that they do for us will have a design build fee. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I support making the plant look as good as possible, and and thank you, Carla, for taking a look at that. And if you need further input, I'm happy to look at it as well.
Thanks, yeah. I'm not envisioning a giant committee or anything like that. I just wanted to participate a little bit in the review of the plans.
Not a problem at all.
Okay, so is somebody going to make a motion?
I'll move it.
Second.
Okay, but
With an edit to the dollar amount being $820,004.
Yes,
Oh,
yes, I recognize that.
Thank you.
I should have marked it, so I had that down. Okay, with the revision on the dollar amount, and is there a second? Or was there a second? Tom did it? Okay. Snuck it in there on me. Okay, so we have a motion by Director Christensen and a second by Vice President LaHue. Voice vote, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, the motion goes to unanimous. Okay, next one is 8.4, consider Aqua's committee appointment process for 2026. Emma, are you going to do the presentation? Thank you.
Yeah, I can review this item. So this is a follow-up to an item we had presented in April. Aqua has released its committee appointment process information, and the board had requested that we bring this item back when Aqua had released it. So there's 13 Aqua committees. Generally, the district can appoint one representative on each committee if people are interested. And the process is the authorized board member would submit a committee consideration form to Aqua by September 19th, which would then be reviewed and appointments would be made on January 1st, 2026. So the 13 committees are agriculture, business development, communications, energy, federal affairs, finance, groundwater, legal affairs, local government, membership, state legislative, water management, and water quality. I'll just note that Dr. Bruce Daniels had served on the groundwater committee for years before he left the board. That's it, unless Melanie has anything to add.
No, I think obviously we're bringing this back just for your information in terms of the process. I think we did just want to note that in looking at Aqua's kind of information in general, they do like to say that they welcome participation, but they try to limit so that everybody has the opportunity from all of their member agencies to have one board member per committee. So just wanted to note that as well. And what we're seeking tonight, obviously, is just to have the board discuss their interest, and if there is interest to nominate or have somebody submit a form, that you could do that by motion so that we understand who we're proposing to Aqua.
Okay, that's great. So is there public comment on this item? No? Okay, so then I'll bring it back to the board for discussion.
Well, I think I was part of the impetus for this being brought back because I have a possible interest of being on the groundwater committee. The links that were in the packet required a member login for Aqua, so I wasn't able to get all the information that I wanted. And for me, being on the groundwater committee would only be something I'd be willing to do if there was a significant advantage to the district for me being on that committee. So I'm leaning towards it. Melanie pointed out that there will be discussion in the groundwater committee about, Sigma, and that could possibly be important for the district to keep up on that. So I would like to get approval to submit an application, and then I'll make my decision before the deadline on September 19th on whether to submit that application. I don't know if others want to be on committees as well.
I would on that committee. Thank you for volunteering.
Almost volunteering.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm interested too, but I think and you can't attend the meetings, any meeting, but
What?
even without being a member.
Oh.
You can just attend and listen to it, catch up. But there's definitely always been a conflict between the JPA and that day of meetings, committee meetings. So I haven't been to a groundwater meeting for a couple of years now. Anyway.
I think that is a good point to make, that the meetings which are typically held during the Aqua conferences, they will have committee meetings typically the day before the conference, and they are open so that anybody can observe the committee in terms of doing their business.
Well, can I make the motion to authorize and designate Dr. Jaffe to represent the district on the Aqua Groundwater Committee? And that's it.
I'll second.
You
You can second it.
One by the bell over there.
I don't know. She snuck it in. She was louder. Okay, so we have a motion by Vice President LaHue and a second by Jennifer Balboni, Director Jennifer Balboni. So we have a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Seeing none, the motion moves unanimously.
I think it's only appropriate that another Bruce be on the board
Yeah,
committee.
Yes.
we got to keep the Bruces busy, huh? Okay, so now we have item 6.8 from the consent agenda, which is the emergency repair at State Park Drive
By Safeway.
by Safeway.
Thank you. I appreciate you pulling this for me.
In the right one?
Yeah. So we budgeted for this project in the 25-26 budget. And $175,000 is what's in the budget. At the time of the budget, we didn't realize that this is going to be mostly dictated as night work by the county, because State Park and Soquel Drive is such a busy intersection. They're not going to want us doing traffic control there during the day. So what I'd like to request is that, along with awarding this project to Betts Works, it'll be we're going to approach it as a time and materials contract. But because of the night work, we're going to have to staff that at night. And I'm not sure I can do that with my current staff. So I might need to reach out to have someone oversee it overnight at night. So I'd like to increase or add $25,000 to budget, and that'll have to come from OCR. So Josh, is that an acceptable action that the board can take tonight?
Yeah, we can include that. That's within the scope of this item.
It's close, okay. So one motion would be, probably before we award it, we allocate an additional $25,000 from OCR to fund this, in addition to the $175,000 in the budget. And then the second motion would be to award it, authorize the general manager to execute a contract with Betts Works to perform that work. And the work is planned to start at the end of the month.
And, but the contract still would be $175,000, and then we have $25,000 that's.
Well, the contract will be time and materials up to $775,000. We hope we're not going to have to come back to you at the end of the project and amend it again.
So we're
yes.
just transferring $25,000 from OCR to the project budget.
Right.
But we're approving a contracted time and materials to $175,000.
That's
The
correct.
25,000 would be for construction management oversight during the night activities.
And the 25,000 is not to exceed also.
Yeah, that would also be time and material. I mean, they bill by the hour. Yeah.
Okay, so do we have public comment on this item?
Thank you, Becky Steinbruner. I have observed for many weeks now water near the Safeway station. Is this related to that? It's been going for a very long time. You're shaking your head, so I am happy that this is being taken care of. And I just want to I want to put in a good word for Betts Works. Our road association has done work with them, and they're good people and locally owned. So I'm happy to see a contract going to a locally owned operator. And I only want to request, and I know that you will, that all emergency response units be notified of the night work, and the public as well. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we bring this back to the board for discussion and a motion.
I'll make the motions first to transfer transfer $25,000 from OCR to the project, and that also to authorize general manager to execute work authorization form for Betts Works not to exceed $175,000.
Thank you.
I'll second.
We have a motion from Director Jaffe and a second from Director Christensen. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes unanimously. So the next item is adjournment. Our next regular board meeting is August 19th, 2025, and this meeting is adjourned. Use my little...
Thank you.
All right.
Well, now we need the little